Hey, this is Tyler with T-Jack Survival. I'm here with Josh, my friend from Ready Man. We're out doing some Ready Man videos, and we decided to take a break and discuss quickly about the Kukri, which there's some facts and misconceptions as well about the Kukri that I want to discuss. So stay tuned. So the Kukri, it's often argued that it's an ideal survival knife. I think that there's no such thing as an ideal survival knife, but I think there's tons of things that will work for an ideal survival knife. Would you agree on that one?
I think so. I mean, you know, different sizes, different angles. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to that. And, you know, looking at this thing, there's a lot going on. This is more than just your standard straight blade. It's got a lot of weight to it. I mean, I can see this being a versatile tool, but I think it probably has some limitations as well.
Well, another thing too is I'm a personal fan of indigenous designs. I think that our ancestors worked all the kinks out of the designs hundreds and thousands of years before we came along and said, hey, I've got a great idea.
Sure.
So having said that, I really like traditional designs, but I like modern day production techniques. One perfect example is this. This Kukri has a full tang. Now, a lot of them, the traditional ones, are going to have a rat tail. We call it a rat tail, but it's a different type of tang where there's a small point inside of this. They bend it off and make the tip. This is a soldier's Kukri. The Gurkha would use this. It's great. It's a great knife. I'm not ripping on it, but what I would prefer is the full tang. So this guy right here with this full tang gives me more strength, more stability. But they've basically taken this full tang and put it on a traditional grip. And the reason why that's important is these are a forward inertia knife. As you swing, they have a tendency to pull forward out of your hand, and you kind of draw back. That's what makes them chop so well.
Sure.
As it comes down, it pulls back and it chops. Now, if you have any kind of tapering or ending of the back of the knife with this type of a knife, that puppy's flinging out of your hand. And again, the traditional people come up with a design characteristic to prevent that from happening. It swells, so as you start to swing and your hand's getting a little bit tired, it will continue to swell and not come out of your hand, which is key. The other thing is there's no finger guard. A lot of people swear by finger guards. From a pragmatic, realist perspective, a finger guard is there to keep your hand from sliding up when you're stabbing into a person, right?
Sure.
So if you're chopping,
to parry, you know, an incoming blade to deflect that potentially as well.
Yeah, so from a survival perspective, it's an unnecessary device that actually limits my ability to choke high and carve tight.
Gotcha.
Okay? So a lot of survival knives, from a primitive perspective, from my perspective, won't have a finger guard. I don't want one there. Okay.
And you know, it's really interesting. You were talking about the full tang and the rat tail on there. The balance between these knives is very, very different. I mean, the second I picked this one up,
you can feel the weight difference.
Yeah, this one is so top heavy, which does make sense for sure.
Yep.
But I mean, in terms of comfortability, like this thing, for me, this feels a lot better in my hand. This one actually feels a little bit unwieldy by comparison, and maybe that's just
that's traditional. That's the very traditional. And this one, you can feel an absolute change of balance. They try to balance them right next to that arc.
Yep.
That one's going to have a more front balance right about here because this has more meat in the handle, which I'm okay with. But again, when I've really abused Kukri in the past, and I try to get them all from Nepal, I popped those caps loose and I've had to repair them.
Really?
Something like this, you're not popping the cap loose. It's not built in a manner where there's a cap to be popped loose, essentially. So that's why I like the modern day full tang technique in an ancient traditional design. Another thing I want to throw out about the Kukri is I've been given a couple different stories on the history, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it was my understanding that Alexander the Great moved through that area of Nepal. They had a longer chopper that they brought with them, and the local people created a shorter knife replicating that chopper, and that's where we got the Kukri.
Okay.
So having said that, the majority of Nepalese are not 6'1" plus American people, they are very small. So the kukri, the traditional kukri, are going to be much smaller. And if you decide to order one, you need to order something that's an American size, or you're going to get a little
baby knife.
Yeah. And it works, you know, but it's about the same size as like a K-bar with a forward blade.
Gotcha.
It's really cool, but it's really small. And that's what they would use in the brush. And they use it for everything. One of the parts that people miss the most that drives me a bit batty is this. There are these two little knives that come with it in an actual traditional kukri, and a lot of people don't know what they are, how they work.
I have no clue. I mean, these are not actually sharp. Are they supposed to be sharp?
One of them's sharp, the other one's not.
Oh, okay.
So the one that's sharp, this one's not it, but the one that's sharp, that's your rabbit skinner.
Okay.
That's your fish filleting device.
Sure.
This is what you process your small game with, right? And this one is an old school sharpener. Okay, it actually has a flat blade on the front, and the idea is if you pop that sucker into a rock, you just grind it until you're able to get it straight in the field, and that's what this other knife is.
No kidding.
It's unusual. It's a little strange. I like to use it as a leather punch.
Okay.
You know, there's a couple different tools for it. You can use this for flint and steel. There's some other additions to it, but that's a real key ingredient to the survival portion of this knife.
So you've kind of got just a survival kit all in one.
Exactly.
You know, with this, because that was
skills plus this equals your survival.
Well, you got to know what you're doing, obviously.
Your
but it's, you know, I was wondering, because obviously this is a very large hunk of metal here.
Yeah.
So then, what do you do for your finesse work? That was going to be my drawback. But the fact that you have one of these little tiny guys.
You can choke high on these guys, right? You can get your small work, and you can actually do a lot of finesse work with the reverse grip. If you hold really high and do this kind of thing, you get a lot of your really small stuff. Then you can turn around and process all of your firewood, chop your animal heads off.
Sure.
You know, do all the bigger stuff with this knife. So anyway.
Now this little notch, this
there's two stories
here.
on
what
that.
is
One of
is
them's
that ornamentation?
PG, or it's religious. One of them's PG and one of them's not.
Let's hear both.
The non-PG version is that is a girl part from a female goddess named Kali. Okay? The PG part is that is a cow hoof, which is part of their religion. I'm going to let you pick whichever one you want and run with that one.
So it isn't really functional. It is just
no function to that I know of whatsoever.
An adornment.
That's just if you're going to get a Nepalese kukri, it's going to have the hoof on it. Or the other thing. trying to keep PC on that one.
No, that's really good to know. I was thinking that there was maybe some fancy thing you could do with that, but no, that's just for
if you come up with it, let me know. But right now, it is a maker's mark.
Cool.
So
fair enough.
All right, guys. Hopefully that's valuable to you. It's just a quick discussion on the kukri, what it is, and that type of things. I got these from Ambar out of Nepal. I'll leave you his Facebook link if you want to go get one. You're welcome to it. If you have any questions, leave comments down below. Thanks for being on my video.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching TJX Survive.